morning, all! Good morning, everyone! Patricia, Marilyn, Adobe Live, good to see you. Cindy, I see Ariana, and Larissa, and Marnie, and Carlos, and Ray. It's so wonderful to have you all with me this morning. My name is Voodoo Val, and I am going to be your host yet again for challenge number 6 of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge for this round. And I'm super pumped about it. It's going to be really awesome. I can't wait to jump into it. But first, I do want to give you guys some information, the regular housekeeping points that we have at the beginning of every challenge. Number 1, if you guys are tuning in this morning for the PSDCC, keep in mind that the rest of our day is going to be jam-packed with awesome designers aside from just this one stream. After me here, we're going to have 2 hours of awesome Photoshop design. Then we're going to go to Peter Del Tondo, who's going to be teaching the XD Daily Creative Challenge for all you UI, UX designers out there, followed by a couple of hours of UI, UX design in Adobe XD. It's going to be pretty awesome. Also, if you folks have never been here for these challenges before and you don't know what we're doing and maybe want to get involved and check out what we've done in the past as well as what we have planned for the future and what we're doing just today, if you guys head over to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, it will take you to this lovely screen right here where you folks will get a little bit of information up at the top in the How Does It Work section. It basically says each day you'll receive a challenge. You can join the community chat to stay informed and connect with other people. You can watch our daily live show, which is what this is right here, to see how to get started and ask questions. These streams will also be available to you folks later as well. So if you can't stay for the entirety of the stream today, or perhaps you are watching right now from the future, hello, future designers, people who are watching these out of order, thank you. But yeah, they will be saved on our Behance page or on our YouTube channel. And then it says, finally, share your work and get feedback from other mentors and participants. And you can do that by either clicking the community chat button or scrolling all the way down to the page down here and clicking join us under chat with the community. But you can also go to the link right up here, bit.ly/PS Discord, which will lead you to this wonderful page right here that I will pull up. This is our Discord. Basically, you can come in here and you can introduce yourself. If you scroll down here, you can see there's a little introductions channel where everyone can tell us a little bit about them, what kind of designs they do, what they're hoping to learn, and make some friends, which is awesome. Can never have too many design friends. And while you are participating in these challenges, if you so choose, there is a current challenge area here where you can post all the challenges that you are working on now, things I'm doing during the day. All of these look so fabulous. You guys did so many challenge entries for these adventure challenges, and I'm super pumped about it. This is amazing. This is from Tibbs. That's so cool. That's a very powerful looking staff, my friend. Very cool. But you can also post in the past challenge channel here. So if you are doing things out of order, like this awesome avatar here that we've got, this looks great. Well done. You can post your work out of order if you're doing them. Maybe you're doing yesterday's challenge today, or maybe you're doing some challenges from the first week today. You can post it here. You can even post challenge entries here from past Daily Creative Challenge sets, which is super cool. I'm going to bring you back over to the Daily Creative Challenge page because you can see now at the bottom of our page we have Explore Past Challenges. So you can come back here and look at challenges by other mentors aside from myself and see what we have been doing in past months and past weeks, which is super fun. Hi Deanna, it's good to see you. Hi Anthony, good to see you Sam. Hello Alberta and Steve. So we're gonna jump into our challenge for today. And if I scroll up to the middle of the page here, you will see, let me bump myself over to the other side of the screen here with magic. So we've done creating a stylized avatar, we've done icon design, we've done using tools and filters, photo compositing, textures and patterns, and today we have custom brushes. And this is one that a lot of people have been asking about in the Discord and in the chat. So I'm going to do it's a pretty simple tutorial. for creating just a brush real quick. It'll be up to you guys to sort of embellish these brushes and play with the settings and make them super unique. But not only are we going to create brushes today, we are also going to use them for a project. And if you guys have been following along thus far, or if you haven't yet, or if you're new today, I've been putting a loose adventure style theme to all of these challenges. So if you are not into like video games and fantasy RPGs and all that good stuff, you can definitely repurpose these challenges however you like. But for those of you who are following our little adventure storyline, today it's time to create a map, because you cannot adventure into the Wicked Wood unless you know exactly where you're going. So we're going to use the brush tool to illustrate simple map features like trees, waves, and dotted lines to get from one place to another with our custom brushes that we're about to create. So let me page this stuff down, and we're going to jump right into it. So first, I actually have a blank file open here because I'm going to create some shapes for my brush in here. And then I also have a little base that I've created that is like a map of sorts. I've got what I've made is just let me pull up my layers panel here so you folks can see. I've just made kind of taken a paper texture and I've overlaid kind of a little like topographical map texture on here to make it look pretty cool. And then I found these icons that I've licensed that I thought were pretty nifty to add here. If you folks don't have icons, because you probably are not starting with the same items that I'm doing, I challenge you to use your custom brushes today or use your knowledge from previous streams to use or to create your own icons. Design your own sort of journey. As you can see, I have basically the story that I'm going to be telling, and that is we're going to go from the Adventure Guild to meet a wizard, and then we're going to come here and we're going to pick up a new magical artifact, and then we're going to fight a dragon. And we're going to do that, or we're going to tell this story by use of some new textures and things we're about to create with the brushes. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to make probably one of the most important things that you need for a map. But it's also kind of one of the easiest kinds of brushes to make. So I'm going to grab my marquee tool. I'm going to press M on my keyboard in order to select that, or you can select it from your toolbar up here. And I'm just going to make a quick rectangle like so. And you can have it centered if you want. You can pretty much do this however you like. I'm just going to put it in the basic middle of my my file here. Also, I want to note that I made this file 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels because I believe that is the limit to how large the shape can be to make your brush. So as long as it doesn't break the borders of this file, then I will be fine. I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool by either clicking over here in my my toolbar or hitting G on my keyboard, and I'm going to select some black from my color layer or color panel over here, and I'm just going to dunk in just a bit of black here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to edit, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say define brush preset. Okay, I'm just going to leave this on sample brush because I am going to actually come in and re-edit this again, but this is fine for now. I'm just going to say okay. And then I'm going to come over here to my map and we're going to experiment with this a little bit. I'm going to change it to white because I'm using white for a lot of the details in my map here. And real quick, I'm just going to, I'm using the brackets to make my brush larger and smaller. And I'm just going to go like this. You can see I have a brush now made with that shape. But what we want is not like a palette knife brush. What we want is a dotted line so that I can show my trail from point of interest to point of interest on this map. So I am actually going to, you can either open the brush panel by clicking up here, or if you have these panels here set up on the side of your layers like I do, then you can click there, and you can come in here and you can see like brush tipped shape, shape dynamics, scattering, texture, on all these good things for your brushes. First up, I'm going to stay in brush tip shape, and I am going to spread this out. I'm gonna do like a major spacing here, like that. Now this is all cool. If I start drawing, you can see we have kind of the dotted line thing we're going for, but it's not directional. So if you want your brush to be directional, which is definitely what we need for this project, you can come down here to Shape Dynamics, make sure that's checked there, and you can come down to Angle Jitter. You want to click this little control down here, and you want to set it to direction. And now there are a lot of different settings that you can come in here and do if you prefer. You can do pen pressure, which some of you might appreciate for some other kinds of brushes. You can do initial direction, rotation, stylus wheel, pen tilt, all these different things. But for this, we don't want any fade. We don't really want any pen pressure. We want it to be like a solid, harsh, dotted line that follows the direction of our stylus. So I'm going to hit that, and you can see it kind of changed a little bit. And then what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to right click here, and I am going to go over to my little gear in the corner here, and I'm going to say new brush preset, and I'm going to name it dotted line. And I'm going to make sure that I'm saving this again, because I want it to have, I've kind of done my little test over here, but I want it to make sure that I have all those settings saved within it, so that if I select another brush, or I I turn my Photoshop off and then I reopen it at a later date, it still has all of those settings saved to it that I want. So now if I come in here with either my mouse or my stylus, you can see I've got my dotted line. How awesome. So I'm actually going to turn, well, I have smoothing on about 32%, which is totally cool. So real quick, I'm going to hit F on my keyboard to give myself a little more room in my workspace here. By the way, if you hit F, just F on your keyboard, you can switch into 3 different modes and views of Photoshop, by the way. And another tip is if you hit Tab, you can hide your panels completely off and on, for those of you who were wondering about that. So I'm going to real quick just make, I want to get that a little closer there to my little wizard. I'm just going to illustrate a kind of path here from one point of interest to the other. Maybe we'll do that one like this. Boom. And I'm even going to use my lasso tool, and I'm going to cut out some space from here so that everything is the same basic distance. Let's remove a couple of these as well. There we go. So now I've got my little trail, but what we also need are some other things like trees and maybe some waves and things, and I'll let you guys sort of decide what exactly you are going to create for your own map. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to hit F so that I can see my my different files that are open up here. Also, I'm going to hit Control S first, just to make sure I'm saving my progress here. I'm going to come back over to here. I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to make another brush. I'm going to say Control Shift N for a new layer. I'm going to click Control D to deselect, and I'm going to grab our handy dandy pen tool that you guys have probably figured out is like my new favorite tool, because we've been using it almost every day. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I am going to create some mountains, because I definitely want some mountains. So I'm going to grab this here. I'm going to just click a point, and then I'm going to come up here, and then I'm going to click and drag and kind of make that a little bowed there. And I'm even going to kind of, I'm kind of only going to do like one side of this so I can duplicate it and make it symmetrical. And I'm going to first reorient this little handle here by holding Alt, and then I'm going to click that and move it down, and I'm going to hold Shift so that it's perfectly aligned, and then I'm going to make my new point like so, and then I am going to hold Control and bump that up just slightly, and then I'm going to come over here, click a new point, and I'm also going to bow that out just a little bit like that. Now, we could have been making this a shape the whole time. Remember, I talked about how we can kind of change this in here. For me, I don't particularly care if I'm going to do a shape or a selection, because this is just a brush. It's not something that it has to be like so perfect, you know, for like an illustration or something, because it's just going to be something that supplements an illustration. If you want to make yours a shape, that's totally cool. It's up to you guys. But I'm just going to say selection here, and I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to hit G on my keyboard, or L first. I'm going to select inverse. Oops. Select inverse. I'm going to hit G for my paint bucket. I'm going to grab black here, and I'm going to jot that in. Then I'm going to go Command J, and I'm going to go Command T to transform. I'm going to right click that. I'm going to flip it horizontal, and I am going to bring that over like so. I'm going to hit enter. I might even, let me see, transform again, because there's a little bit of pixel space there, and I'm going to use my arrow keys to bump it over to make sure it's really hugging itself there. And then I'm going to do Control E so that I merge whatever's on the current layer I'm on with whatever's on the layer directly below me. I'm going to go Control T and transform, make sure that this is centered. And then I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times, and I'm going to make kind of a little pattern here. Just like so. I think that will do it. Boom. So I'm going to merge this down, and I'm going to select these things by holding Control and clicking my little image on my layer here. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, is I'm going to say Edit. I'm going to come down here to Define Brush Preset. I'm going to call these Mountains. And I'm going to hit OK. And I don't really need this to be special and edited in the settings like the dotted line brush, because I don't really need this to be directional. This is more of a stamp brush. It's very simple. So I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to bump that up to white, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make my brush smaller with my brackets, and then I'm going to kind of stamp some little mountains in here. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. And I suppose these maybe they kind of look a little bit more like waves, because I did do them a little bit curved. But I think that it works well for now. And there's a lot of different things that you guys can do. We can do waves, like actual like wiggly lines if you want with the pen tool. You guys could make some trees. In fact, trees would be really cool. Maybe we could make trees with what we have. If I do Control Z, or actually I'm going to get my lasso tool by pressing L or selecting it from the toolbar here. I'm going to hold Alt down so that I can deselect from my current selection. And then I'm just going to Control J, because I had just that top one selected. I'm going to hide this. And then I am going to make a tree. I'm going to duplicate this with Control J, and then I'm going to Control T, and I'm just going to pull that down like that. And then I'm going to maybe actually make it a little bit wider, like so. And then I'm just going to keep going down until it kind of looks like a pine tree, maybe. Boom. Like so. And then maybe I will, on another layer, Control Shift in, I will grab a rectangle tool, like so, and I'm going to drag it until it is centered, and then I will paint bucket that black as well. Let me hold my Alt to sample that color, and then I'll merge this all down. And I'll select that, and I will do the same thing, Edit, Define Brush Preset. I'm going to call this Tree. I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select white, and then maybe I will add a little forest over here, you know, kind of get a little more texture and kind of interesting things happening. And that is how you guys can easily create some brushes and also use it in a project. I'm going to spend a little more time sort of experimenting with the different kinds of shapes and things I can get, maybe experimenting with my placement of all of the elements that I've created, maybe making some more shapes and more interesting focal points for this. But for now, this is pretty good. That's a pretty good start, pretty good example to show you guys how you can create this project just like me. So I'm going to go Control-Shift-S, which is save as, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say map finished, and then I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Maybe mapped finished 2, because I already have a map finished that I practiced on before. And I'm going to say enter, and I'm going to say okay, and then I'm going to stroll on down to our Discord. I'm going to come to our current challenge page, and then I am going to post it here by clicking our little plus button here. I'm going to navigate to where I have my file saved, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to say, here is the map I made with my custom brushes. And it's probably a good idea to spell the word map correctly. But yeah, here's the map I made with my custom brushes. And I'm going to say upload, and then it's going to load there. But we can also post this to Behance, which I am going to actually head on down to Behance as well. Let me pull up my Behance page. I'm going to click on my icon over here, and I actually have to upload my challenge entry from yesterday as well still, because I did not do that. So I'm going to hover over my gear on my Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge project here. I'm going to go to edit, and then I am going to skidoo on down here to my challenges, and I will actually upload yesterday's and today's. I'm going to say Heroic Companion right here. Heroic Companion, and I'm going to grab my stuff here. Let's see. Do a little bit of catch-up. Boom. There is my little my little pigeon that I did. And then I'm also going to come in here and call this custom brushes and custom map, or custom brushes and where's my ampersand and map. Boom. And then I'm going to upload my map. Let's see. Boom, boom. There we go. Yeah, it does even work with pictures. Yes. And this is going to take a little bit to load. I'm going to make sure this is scrunched in here. And remember, folks, when you're uploading all of your awesome designs to your Behance for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge or for the XD Daily Creative Challenge, make sure that you come in here and into the settings, and you have the proper keyword for whatever challenge you're doing in the keyword section of the settings. So for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, the keyword is PS Daily Challenge, and you want to make sure that that is in there, and I will show you where you can add that right after this is done loading, because it's kind of a large file. But there is my map. It's looking pretty good so far, but I'm going to click on the settings over here, and if you go to discoverability, you will see right here I have a few keywords in there already. I still have to add some more, but PS Daily Challenge is the very first one I put in there because that is the most important. And I'm going to say save. And then I am going to go to my thing here, and I should see all of my stuff in there. Check that out. So I got all my things together. I'm very excited. I still want to come back and like re-detail some of the projects that I did, so I can spend more than our very brief half hour together to work on them. As you can see, I went back and did like another fantasy avatar, which I think my favorite one is the purple one, because purple, you guys know that's my favorite color. And I do have some other icons to post that I have not posted just yet, and I posted my steps for the coat of arms. I highly recommend that if you're doing this, that you also post your steps, because people love to see that. But it's been a blast, folks. Thank you all very much for joining me. It's been a wonderful time. I can't wait to see what you folks create, what kind of brushes you guys make, and what kind of things you make with those brushes. Please stay tuned for the awesome Photoshop segment coming up after me, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Adios, everyone.